What's going on? Welcome into episode number 3 of TFEs podcast alongside my hubby, Dalen Cuff. I'm Kelsey Riggs Cuff. We're doing it again.
We're still here.
We're still here. We're still back. We have a lot to get to today. Definitely want to talk about last week, what we shared, and kind of the reactions to it. And I want to start with TFEs off the top normally, but before we do, I have like one wardrobe thing to get off my chest.
Excellent.
Surprisingly, it has nothing to do with your wardrobe.
Can't wait. Like, what are we talking about here?
Well, we've talked the last couple of weeks about, are we wearing shoes? Are we wearing socks? Are we not? I'm dying for a pedicure right now.
Oh, so
that's on the to-do list because I was like, I cannot be up here with these people zooming in on my toes right now. Second thing that I need to get off my chest, I don't know what an iron is when it comes to me. Do you see that?
I don't know if I've ever seen you iron. There you go.
That's exactly right. Now, if you asked me to iron something for you, I would do it. But like for me, I just feel like, do I really need an iron?
I'm a big throw it in the shower steam situation, but that's usually when traveling. I don't know if I've ever even done that at the house.
I think we've pulled out the iron like one time.
Let's be real. How often do we ever get dressed up where we need like ironed clothes from our home?
No, we usually take them somewhere with us.
So have we ever?
No, but even like at work, there's a steamer there, and that's probably like a me problem. Like I don't budget enough time to like steam it before I go on air. It's like the intent is there, but I don't do it.
Your time management is poor? Is that what you're telling me?
No, never.
Yeah.
So that's number
Excellent.
2. Number 3, I've had these glasses for a long time, and I don't know that I've ever asked you if I look like a serial killer in them.
Did you just think about Jeffrey Dahmer?
Yeah.
Is that what we're doing here? I mean, you could say, do I look like Dahmer? Let's just be real. Let's real pointed at what we're talking about. I've never seen that before. I don't know.
Have you never seen these before?
No, I've never seen that. I've never thought that, I guess.
Okay.
I know Lyra loves them. I feel like she's played with them before. But for some reason today, they look extra large. I don't know what that is. But
they're probably going to be sliding.
I like them, but they do look extra large today.
Thank you. They are. That's
Excellent.
just the look that I'm going for.
I'm aware.
Now that I've got all of that off my chest, that's what, in TFEs, those were my thoughts. I just needed to get all of those off my chest. Your TFEs off the top. Thoughts, feelings, emotions. Where are you?
We just did a 3-hour radio show in Sirius, so let's just keep talking. I'm ready. Very different conversation, I imagine we're going to have.
Yeah.
So my thoughts are, I'm ready to connect with you. You've been gone for a couple days, so that's good. I am very excited about date night tonight. We'll get to that, but we're in our house by ourselves. That's never happened before. Since we had dates, that's just never happened, where we've been in our house for more than a matter of hours without him here. And usually if he's here, then at some point Lyra's probably here too. But that's pretty cool. So those are my my feelings on that. I missed you. I missed Dace. But I'm very excited about our date night. And tomorrow we have a day to kind of do whatever we want.
It's weird.
And I have some thoughts, and I have some things I want to do, and it's going to be fun.
Are we golfing?
No, I think we'll lay up on that, unless you really want to. I did play 27 yesterday.
I know.
So that was a bit much.
Yeah.
When you guys aren't here, this is basically all I do. I want to work, and I want to golf. That's all I want to do. So that was it. I worked on Monday. I played the par 3 with our buddy across the street. Yesterday I was off. There you go.
Yeah.
So I think that's feelings a little bit. And emotions, I guess I'm excited. And I can't even... Yes. Do I want to see Dace? Am I excited to see Dace? And will I be sad to see Dace? To miss Dace? Yes. But right now, I'm just focused on my love.
That's good. That's very sweet of you. I'm going to try and echo some of those sentiments.
Well, they're not real. Go ahead.
They are.
Okay.
My thoughts are, I am excited to be here back with you. I missed you while I was gone, obviously. And I'm excited that it worked out that we have a couple days together. Feelings are, I flew in this morning on a flight by myself without Dace, which is like a weird thing. You're going to fly by yourself with Dace for the first time on Monday, and I'm looking forward to getting the breakdown on that and your TFEs on that. And
you guys can't see the Cheshire grin she has on her face. She's so excited for me to be in this state of misery from 6 a.m. to 7:50.
It's not misery.
It's 6 a.m. to 7:49. Not everybody knows the exact timeline we're supposed to be in the air. But there you go.
It's like 3:30 until then. But you're not going to get up that early.
I mean, yeah, I guess we got to be out of here.
How much of a like overbearing travel mom wife do you want me to be? Like, do you got it, or would you like me to tell you how I usually like what I put in the diaper bag that works, and how like many bottles I fill up and things that like help on these solo flights?
I don't want you to tell me anything.
I'm going to tell you anyways.
This is the thing. Dads like to say, like, I did it my way. I want to go Frank Sinatra. I want to do it my way.
You can do it your
I'll
way.
figure it out.
Give you a couple of little things.
I don't want little things. I want to figure it out. And I want to, guess what? I know this is hard to hear for you. It's probably hard to hear for a lot of moms. But we can do shit too.
No, we know
like, I can get it done. I can get it done.
You can.
He will get to this house.
He will.
And he will nap promptly after getting here because I will have had it by the time we get here.
No.
That will happen.
He's going to talk to everybody on the plane. He thinks that it's his like little welcome party when everybody gets on.
When was the last 6 a.m. flight you did with him though? Because I mean, we've done those together with him, but that's different.
I don't know. I can't keep it. Yeah.
It's been a while. That's my point. It's been a while since that. So I wonder if people will be a little less interested in interacting with little Dace Man when it's 5:30. It's dark.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. The one thing is fill up at least 3 bottles and put them in there.
Jeez, so you can't help herself.
I need to at least get that in there. You don't want to have to deal with the water. Do it in the club before you go on. You have the bottles filled up and then you can just pour it in.
Thank you.
I'll tell my mom too so she can...
Let's micromanage. Let's micromanage Dad as much as humanly possible.
No, you
made me think of something else though. Let me just interject here real quick. Let's play hypothetical. Let's put the shoe on the other foot.
Okay.
For my wife that has serious FOMO and also at the same time wants to do 15 million things at once. So you were traveling for work. You went down the Bill Belichick experience, which we'll get to later in the show. Your show was Monday. You were done on Tuesday. Dace is in Charleston. You're in Raleigh, Durham. You went to Charleston.
Chapel Hill, but yes.
Okay, Chapel's 20 minutes away, but thank you for correcting me.
You know.
The Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill area. Thank you. Rand McNally. So you drive back to Charleston to stay with Dace and with your family for Tuesday, and you come back Wednesday. Knowing that if you were here by yourself like I was, and off, and nothing on the schedule, how would it have been reacted to if I was like, I'm not coming home. I'm going to stay somewhere else without you for an extra day, and I'm going to come back the next day.
Were you going to see Dace or Lyra?
I was going to go see my family.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
There would have been no complaints, no whining.
I never lied.
Look at your face right now. Like, I don't buy in this at all. It'd have been like, as soon as I would have told you, I'm going to go to Derek's house. I'm going to go see Derek and the kid and his family. You're not going to come home? But I'm here. Right away. I mean, there's no way that would have been met with, oh, cool, great, have a good time. It would have been a question.
I love you more than you love me. That's what you're proving. I mean, I'm obsessed.
It's not the point. It's just things aren't equal.
To be here.
No,
they're not because
no, when you want to do things, you're good.
False.
Okay.
This is all about Days. I'm about to not see Days for the first time in my life for 5 days in a row.
Okay.
So that was going to be. That would have been 7 nights?
No. I have no issue with what you did.
Well, I know.
That's not my point. No. My point is, could I have done something similar if it wasn't the same thing without the question or the guilt?
Or Derek.
Or the guilt.
Yes. If you were sad that you missed Dace or Derek, yes.
Without a question and without the guilt laid on. Just like, oh, cool. That'll be the reaction?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you want to make sure that you don't have those nights without the kids, that many nights in a row, then you let me know, and then they'll...
I still don't understand what you just said, but I got it. Okay.
Yes is the answer. I think, did I do emotions? Feelings were, it's good to be here. I took a flight by myself. Emotions are, I am excited to have a little impromptu date night with you. Mm-hmm. I have been looking forward to the podcast and talking about the last week, and I also feel like excited is the big word because college football was back in a big way, and it ended on a very interesting note with Bill Belichick and the North Carolina experience, and being there was an experience in itself. So we'll get to that, I think, in a little while. You looked like you were about to say something. You got something there?
Nope.
All right. Let's start with last week, though, first of all.
Yeah.
And, I've been overwhelmed just by the amount of people that we have heard from that have reached out and that have said just the way that it impacted them of me and you sharing our story about the miscarriage. I think that my hope was, like I said on the podcast, that when people shared with me, it helped me. Mm-hmm. It helped me heal. And that was my hope in sharing, is that it would resonate with someone. And I've been overwhelmed by the amount of people that either said that it resonated with them, or have shared with me that they've been through the same things, or have shared with me what it meant to hear me say it out loud, because they felt like at the time they didn't say it out loud or couldn't say it out loud. And I think it just shows me, first of all, like how many levels there are to this down. Like we touched on so many different things in that episode, but there are so many different types, I think, of like pain, grief, healing stages, and like timelines that come to memory when it comes to any kind of loss and grief, but especially pregnancy and then just trying to conceive in general. I'm sure we'll talk through some of these on another podcast, just because I know we both have a lot of thoughts about how we got here and where we go from here. But I texted you a lot throughout the week because we weren't together. I'd leave it to us, first of all. Like we release this podcast and share something like very emotional and intimate, and it's college football season, and then I'm working like 5 days straight and traveling, and you're doing a million things and working here and doing this with Lyra and trying to help me get on the road with the baby. So I feel like there's people out there I haven't gotten to answer yet, because we just, like the reality of it is like that is when it would have happened. Like this is our life, and that's why we shared it when we did. But it was a busy weekend. But even for me, like there was some anxiety in sharing it, and then also the anxiety in sharing it around such a big weekend in college football, knowing I was about to be like looking all of these people in their eyes. Like how I'm going to post this on my Instagram, and then I'm going to like walk into a stadium full of people that are colleagues, that are friends, that are like whatever.
What was that? What was that like?
It was okay. It really was. It was more than okay, because some people I know, it's like, do I say something or do I not? Like, oh, I saw that. Like, how is she? And so, I think you just meet people where they are if it feels a little bit off. And then other people just wanted to come up and immediately tell me, like, I'm thinking about you, or, oh my gosh, I was crying as I was watching that, or thank you for saying that. Like, we went through it and sharing, or I'm so sorry. Like, I don't know what to say, but like, I'm so sorry that you guys went through that. And then some people I could tell are like, are you okay? If you know me, then like I'm a crier. And what I told a lot of people is like, it's like different levels of healing. And that's something that I think if I ever, for the rest of my life, whenever I talk about, if I really talk about how I feel and felt and think I'll feel in the future, I think I'll always cry when I talk about it. Just because it is so emotional and it is something that means so much to me. But also that's not like new to me. I'm an emotional person. We're sitting here because
that's why we're here.
I'm such an emotional person. So I think it was, a little intimidating knowing that I was going to be posting that and then walking into all of these rooms with so many people that would potentially see it. But it was uplifting, and it just made me feel even more passionate about why we did it, but then also wanting to share other things in the future. Because there's, that's just one thing. There's so many things in life that are hard that like we just don't talk about. We shy away from the things that are going on, or that we're feeling, or that we're hiding, or whatever our deepest, darkest secrets are, because we think we're so alone in it, and the reality is we're not. So I appreciated everyone who shared, and I think it, in a lot of ways it like continues to help me heal too.
Which is great, which is, a byproduct of doing it. And there's the hope, and it's nice to see that come to fruition, both the impact and the healing benefit you get from it. It's not self-centered. It's like you want to find a way to heal, but this is a painful thing, and being able to have that discussion and share with other people, it's weird how the body and mind kind of benefit from, it's catharsis. It's a cathartic kind of exercise. For me, it was interesting because, again, a lot of people I interact with were mostly dudes, and they would be like, "Oh man, I didn't know that. I'm sorry." And it's like, yeah, it's not as long a conversation. I think it's different for us. It's more because a lot of guys are like, "Yeah, I went through that too," and I think us going through it, like we said before, is hard. It's emotional, but you are more the bystander and trying to support. Like it's a different thing than obviously the women going through that. So I think that's also denoted in how we talked about it. I think that's kind of how it was interacted. And then guys would quickly get to like, never thought I'd see a day you're doing a podcast on your feelings and emotions. What the hell's going on? It's just like, well, let's explain a little bit of that. So it became a broader conversation, but it started around, I'm sorry. And then usually a real moment of like, if their experience and some shared experience, and then into how do we get here with you doing this? So it was interesting. And I think that also shows the impact of it, because that was the second episode. We had one before, but I'm not sure people knew that happened. The second one obviously connects with a lot of people and resonates, and which is important.
Yeah. I will say the only other thing on that topic that I think is relevant and that I thought more about afterwards through talking with people or either through kind of reflecting on it and hearing so many people say I had no idea is I think it's super important for people to remember that like you really have no idea. Like at any moment in time, like what somebody's carrying, what they're going through. There were so many times over that period from when we had the miscarriage to now and the baby's due date a couple of weeks ago where like, you know, people say things that are so innocent, but you have no idea, you know, like, oh, thank goodness you're not pregnant so that you can drink and hang out with us. Oh, you know, like, oh, I thought you guys wanted to have kids close together. Like, when are you going to get on it? You know, just like little things that are, you feel are so innocent and are just part of conversation. And this is not like in a way of like, you can't talk to anybody anymore. Oh gosh, don't say what you're thinking. But I think just being cognizant of, you know, you don't know what steps people have taken to get to that point or to be okay at that point, or if they are trying, or if there was loss, or maybe that's just not in it for them anyways. But having so many people, you know, you don't walk up to somebody and a couple and just say, you know, are you trying to have a baby? Did you try to have a baby? Did you have a miscarriage? And it's not like a conversation starter, and I don't think it should be something that we shy away from. But there are so many people that are in my inner circles and people that I call close friends or friends that have shared so much with me over the past week just from us putting this story out that I had no idea. And who knows what I may have said along the way. And I think it's a much bigger thing than just, you know, pregnancy, loss, and grief. The things that people carry with them. As I said last week, it's a privilege if you're able to be in someone's inner circle so that you know the hard times. Like not everybody gets that access to you, but because you don't have that access to everyone, you never know what your words could potentially be doing.
It's funny, you used that phrase last week and used it again right now, but the privilege to have access to you, because we went through this a lot as I went through my, you know, therapeutic journey and ongoing, but especially in the beginning about just like being honest with anybody and everybody about things, and you'd be like, I don't know if you need to share like all that, but I was trying to like, you know, live a life in a certain way and not have any veneer and be very authentic to what I was thinking or feeling or what was real. And I think it was reflected actually in this when you said, because I have had a lot of guys in the last like 7 or 8 months, like this is like, yo, when's number 2 coming, man? You guys trying to like, I thought you gonna have babies? What's going on? Like just. It seems like a casual thing thrown out. But over the last 8 months, I'm not kidding, probably like 15 people. And I wouldn't, and some are close friends, some are you'd call an acquaintance. But I didn't shy away from saying what happened. I just thought, well, we had a miscarriage. And then that changes the tenor of the conversation. But I know you weren't trying to do anything to create negative, to create emotion, to create pain. But at the same time, I wasn't going to be in the space to lie about it. But that's no, because
you say it when I think I couldn't a lot of times.
Which is
I'm
exactly.
so worried about making you uncomfortable.
Well, it's not just that. It's not just that. I think I'm also saying this to men. I don't know if I've had that response to a woman. Because I do think it's a very different, like I've said before, it's a different thing. Whether that guy had gone through it or not, then we may have a different discussion. No matter what, there's obviously there's empathy and sympathy coming back. But people that have gone through it, then we are sharing stories and we're connecting. People that haven't, it's sad and it's sorry and, you know, yeah, it was tough and blah, blah, blah. And then we kind of move on because, again, it's just a different thing. But I would rather not to make them uncomfortable, just tell them really where I'm at versus making something up. Just because I think in my past life, I would have never said that. And I would have, you know, that would have been fine. I would have just carried it with me versus just sharing that, because whether that was good or bad or made me feel better, at least we're being real. I guess was like the long and short of it.
Yeah, I think like being okay with making people uncomfortable is probably something that's not my strongest suit.
Well, I don't look at it like making them uncomfortable. I guess I thought it was like,
I'm not saying it's like malicious, but you know that you're going to say something that like is going to elicit some kind of reaction where they're like, oh gosh, I shouldn't have said that.
Yes and no, because I never was thinking I'm going to say something that I shouldn't have said, because otherwise, what is our conversation?
No,
it's all BS. Yeah. It's like yeah, man, love to have another one, but you know, I don't even like now. I am now making shit up, which again, I feel like how I operated a lot in life was to create a certain image, a certain veneer, a certain level of perfection, if you will, unquote, that nothing was wrong with my life or world or me. But that's definitely what I would have done.
Yeah.
And that's, as I've learned through many sessions and self-examination, that's just not healthy. And for me, I don't think I just don't want to do that. So I guess maybe it's coming from a place of being selfish. That person may be uncomfortable, but I don't want to just lie to them or make up some story so we all can live in this comfortable world when it's different. What I'm saying as the guy in the situation, because I'm not going to, I know what I'm saying, and we can have a conversation. I know the pain. I'm not going to put us in an emotional state where we're going to be struggling through it. That can't be said for everybody.
Yeah. You're also in a place, like you said, through all the therapy and self-work and things that you've done where, like, you want to have real conversation.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to just sit around and be like, how's the weather? Like, what are we liking out here on the golf course? Or I don't know what you guys talk about on the golf course.
But there is no more banal conversation than the weather. Like, just if we have to talk about the weather, we should not talk.
What
like,
a nice day it is.
It's like, good Lord. Now, granted, there are times, of course, we all do it. Beautiful day. Because it is, and you may want to remark on it.
This morning when I got my Uber.
But we don't need to discuss it any more than that. And then that's where we're at. But yes, that I think is, you touched on the real nerve of the thing. If we're going to talk and we're going to interact, and we are, especially if we are friends, let's be real. Let's be real. What's going on? Because I, again, lived a life with my friends for so long of not being real or not asking questions or not answering questions, not answering honestly, to which, I just don't want to do that.
Well, let's answer this question honestly.
Oh boy.
Were you or were you not surprised by the Bill Belichick experience day one?
How could anybody not be surprised? Like, I covered them when I was in Boston from 2012 to 2013 to 2016. My worst assignments ever were in those locker rooms because they said nothing, they did nothing, they were mechanical, and all they did was win. They were the most prepared team. They executed, they prepared for every scenario. And as a Steelers fan, they just whooped our ass so many times when it was the peak of our teams that should have been winning championships. You thought you couldn't because you couldn't get by that team. They outcoached you, they outplayed you, all these things. So yeah, when it was just a disaster, I was like, now granted, the first drive, I'm like, okay, it's Belichick. Scripted, right down the field, 7 points. And then they routed off, 41 unanswered or something? What was it? So yes, I was shocked about the inability to tackle, the inability to block, like the basics of the game. Penalty, just so many mistakes. What I wasn't surprised with is seeing Jordan Hudson on the field later on in social media talking to him. Was the game going on, or was that right before warm-ups? Because the guys I sent it to you. The dudes are on the field. Looks like it's about to be a kickoff, and she's down there talking. He's like, "What?"
You sent it on Instagram. I want to look at it while you're talking.
I'm done talking. You look at it now. You're on Instagram all the time. How do you miss my things?
I was trying to soak in my time with Days, okay, while I was there.
You were on a plane and traveling all day.
I didn't have any service. Oh, here it is right here. You literally sent it today. Oh, yeah. Well, this says midfield. Interesting, and he just walks away. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like that guy's about to run down on a kickoff, doesn't he?
It does, actually. Interesting.
He does not look happy with that.
No, he doesn't. Okay. Yeah, okay. I have a lot of thoughts.
Not a surprise at that. I'm surprised at everything else.
I didn't know where she would be, and honestly, whatever.
It seems like, again, you did the pregame show. I watched your show. Like, you guys didn't, touch it. Or did anybody even joke about it? I know talking to you before, you don't even seem that interested in it, which I don't understand at all.
I just don't want to, it's weird. I don't understand it, but, it is what it is. He's 73 years old, and he's dating a 24-year-old.
I think he's 74, now, isn't he?
Is he 74?
I thought we were 50 years. But anyway, go ahead.
Maybe. He's 73 or 4 years old, and he's dating
I'm having some really awful mental images right now that I'm not even going to articulate. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Let's just stay away from that.
Doctor.
That's why I don't go there.
Oh, God.
It's weird. Obviously, I think it's weird. But then I'm like, you know what? Not my life, not my problem. And, who cares? Whatever her intentions are, whatever he's getting out of it, I don't care that much.
But this is what I understand.
I don't care that much to be outraged by it, everybody, just to get a click about the fact that Jordan Hudson is on the sidelines there. Do I think she belongs on the sidelines in the middle of the game if that is what that clip is in my just 2 seconds of looking at it? No.
But here's what I understand. you will, as I just realized when I walked downstairs, you're dying to tell me the story about Jeremiah, whatever movie or show you're watching. You want to talk about you want to talk about Love Island all the time and tell me all these people's backstories. You want to talk about Taylor Swift. You like to gossip. You like the relationships. You like this nonsense. You like this world. Why this one couple? You are not. I find it fascinating. This one couple you have zero interest in.
First of all,
that the rest of the sports world is somewhat obsessed with.
First of all, Alandria and Nick are not in love on Love Island, just so you know. I'll say that right now, and I will argue with Christine about that until the cows come home. Our text message is pretty much just arguing about Love Island things lately.
It's probably an elevation of the conversation that you guys normally have.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Calm down, okay? We have great conversations. You're just jealous because we talk for so long.
Well, while saying nothing, but go ahead.
It's not that I just like... There are far more interesting things to me to like gossip about than this. Like it was when it happened, it was like, what are they doing? And now they're still doing it. Okay.
Well, one of the things the thing that I find interesting about it, honestly, is the difference by which there was that report 4 or 5 months ago that she had to be copied on all the emails. Mm-hmm. That was the one that I think now we have moved into a different space by which your defensive coordinators, your offensive coordinators, like they're talking about sending emails about recruits and recruiting trips and players and whatnot. And now you are copying a 24-year-old woman that has no clue what this world is about in terms of coaching a team. Now you have to go home to your wife or your significant other and be like, yeah, I got to copy this Jordan coach's girlfriend. All these,
putting me in
like
a
that's
position
bananas.
to defend this, but you are. But like, is she his assistant? Is she the one that's like checking all of the boxes? She might not know anything about a 5-star recruit who's a defensive tackle out of, Miami, but like, is she the one that's organizing all these things? Like there are coaches that have, assistants,
of course,
that are females that have sat in on their meetings that do all kinds of things.
Nobody's not going to, I'm saying that for me to go home to I've been doing this for 30 or 40 years. And now this person's got to be attached to all these things. That their sole job is not to serve job is not to serve him in the university. They're in a relationship. It's a different conversation. It's a different thing.
I'm just saying, like, yes,
somebody's business relationship, as we've learned personally, and your personal relationship are very different freaking things.
They are.
Yeah.
Sometimes that they just get change lines down the road though.
And sometimes your employers say that you have to do things differently because of that. So there are, yes. So this is my point. I find that dynamic interesting, and by which you would have to be copied on every email.
I'm
versus
just saying, though, if she's the organizer, if she's the one, I can't believe you're putting me in a position to defend this. This is insane. But if she's the one that's organizing everything, she doesn't have to know anything about a football team other than like, this is your Tuesday meeting. This is who it is. This is where they are. Blah blah blah. Here's the whole. Okay, I don't have anybody in the like left tackle box yet that you created. That we need this person. I mean. I don't think.
Do you just real quick? A lot of assistants get emails. Sorry, a lot of emails. Like, think about the corporate world. People's assistants will get an email, regardless if they're put on the email or not, because they're supposed to do what you're doing: manage the traffic for the person, know what's going on. They get the inbox, okay, access to the inbox. The difference here is this person has to be copied on this per the demand of the boss. Mm-hmm. That is you are now imposing a different thing. It's just a different dynamic, but we can let it go.
It is a different dynamic. I didn't say that I understood
anyway,
it. I said,
did you enjoy the Bill Belichick experience? Was anybody in there, by the way? It looked like nobody was there by halftime. What was the vibe like in there?
Okay, time out. That's another thing. I have a lot of, yes. Let me start with like the beginning. Did I enjoy the experience? The lead up was fun. Yeah. I mean, it was, all eyes were on Chapel Hill, North Carolina leading up to that game. What's he going to do? What's this team going to look like? Who's going to be there on the sidelines? Where is Jordan going to be standing? Yeah. Like all of these things, everybody wanted to know like who was going to be there. And anytime you're at a game and Michael Jordan and Lawrence Taylor and Mia Hamm and Julius Peppers and Roy Williams are sitting there and Armando Bacot, like, yeah. It's a big deal.
You just named all these Hall of Famers and you throw Armando Bacot in there, but go ahead.
He was the last. I was just thinking of everybody.
It's like you literally have icons, legends, Hall of Fame, and a good college basketball player. Cool.
Disrespect it. He got paid some big money there. Okay?
He did. He got made 7 figures. He took him to a national championship game. They lost to Kansas. Armando, I love you. You're a great guy.
Listen.
But you're not quite. That's a different
thing. In my head,
thing.
Randy Moss, he was another one.
That's
I'm trying to think of
who
all we saw on the Jumbotron and who all we were introducing throughout the show. So yeah, anytime you're somewhere where all of these people come to just witness what's about to happen, it's cool. That was really cool. The lead up was really cool. There was just a different feeling. I mean, anytime you're on the sidelines of a college football game and the lights go down and the crowd just starts like this roar because everybody's whispering. They know it's about to be the run out, the beat's about to drop, and the Jumbotron's going to come on, and all of a sudden you're going to hear this is Carolina football and, you know, everything else that they say there. It's just a cool experience regardless. But it did feel different because it couldn't help but feel different. Bill Belichick is about to walk through the tunnel as a college coach in his cutoff hoodie for the first time and like embark on trying to save North Carolina football and turn things around. So the feeling was just different. It was like this perfect night too, not to be like, you know, just all in the moment, but like the night was perfect. The weather was amazing. You look up, there's this like moon in the sky that people were getting pictures of that's like perfectly placed behind the stadium. When you look up, the fireworks are going on and there comes Bill Belichick, and then Gio Lopez and the offense just drive straight down the field and score a touchdown. And I think everybody was just like giddy. You're just looking around, you're like, oh my God, this is what? Mm-hmm. Like, okay, he's about to do it. He is about to freaking do it. And then he didn't.
So give me the vibe as things started to unravel, because it was almost like a slow bleed. It was the first next couple drive by halftime. I'm like, this might be over.
Yeah, it was a slow bleed. It was like so many mistakes. It was bad snaps. You mentioned it, like you can't tackle, the turnovers. Just like the one thing that everybody said was like, this football team is going to be well coached. It's going to be a well coached football team. It's a Bill Belichick team. You know, they're going to be physical. They preached that all off season. They're going to be well coached. And they didn't look any of that. I mean, to his credit, he owned it, I guess. Like, to your credit, like, what else can you do when you come out and you lose like that? But the mood, I feel like it was like a slow shift, because you just kept feeling like, okay, they went 3 and out. They went 3 and out again. They went 3 and out again. And you just kept feeling like something was going to turn. Like, honestly, there was just no spark. I'm doing the post show with Eddie Royal, and he's like getting passionate talking about like how mad he was at the players, because like, where is the fire to just like win and come out and make a tackle and try and change the game? And you didn't feel that. Like the one time that there was a spark is when they made the quarterback change after Gio got hurt, which hopefully, you know, he ends up being okay. But Max Johnson, when he came in, and you're like, wait, it's too late for them to like come back and win this game or make it a close game, right? And then, you know, like the next play after they score a touchdown, they turn it over and you're like, yeah, it is too late. Yeah. But yeah, the thing about the fans leaving, and again, this is just like everybody being so clickbaity, like the stadium before the game, the stadium heading into the fourth quarter. Of course they left. Mm-hmm. Like everybody was so excited to see what this was going to look like. We saw what it was going to look like.
And you weren't interested.
Yeah. And we're going to be like, oh, Carolina fans are leaving the game. What are you staying for at that point? Yeah. Like, yes, they left. They're disappointed. Like, they just hired Bill Belichick as their new head coach and, you know, had high expectations. And this is the lowest of lows. Like, I'm going back to tailgate and go to Franklin Street, and instead of partying because we won, I'm going to go, you know, party because we lost.
Drown my sorrows.
Yeah. So I don't have any issues with the fans leaving. That's a passionate fan base. The place was sold out. The atmosphere was crazy. And then they stunk. So, of course, the fans left in the fourth quarter. Who cares? Not me.
Well, I'm excited to see what they look like against Charlotte. That's the bounce back game. So we'll see how that works
on the road at Charlotte, too.
I know. I'm sure he loves that. He's like, why are we playing at a FCS school? But that's...
Coach Richt was like, wait, you said they are Charlotte.
But the North Carolina legislature passed a rule like a few years ago where you have to play. The high majors have to play on the road at some of these... if you're a public institution, you have to do it because of the economics of it and how it helps those schools, maybe help them win, but help their... Like the finances of certain places are different. When you play at App State... in Boone, North Carolina, it's definitely different than playing Charlotte. Mm-hmm. So that argument isn't quite there, but they want to give the smaller schools a shot if they are publicly funded institutions. So that's a rule. They have to do that, and that's unfortunate because coaches don't like doing that.
That's what you're here for, to give us all of the inside information on the legislation.
That's all I'm here for. There you go. That's North Carolina legislature.
Here for, but that's definitely
Let's talk about the North Carolina legislature.
That's
definitely
Let's get into it. Not why I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
Also, big picture. So we mentioned that Dace is with my parents who are keeping him for this entire week, and so excited about that because we both have to travel again this weekend. So childcare. Thank goodness, we have at least the opportunity to do that. Anyways, I'm with them. They're South Carolina fans. They're not just South Carolina fans, they're grads. So I'm with them for the game against Virginia Tech, which was probably closer than most South Carolina fans would want at the beginning. And then Lenora Sellers and company, they looked great in the second half. And then I'm with my mom last night on the couch, and she's like, tell me about this top 25.
What do you mean?
College football fans are so passionate. And it makes me so happy. It gives me so much joy that my mom is mad that South Carolina only moved up 3 spots in the rankings. And there are teams that lost that are still in the top 10, especially another team in South Carolina, which is Clemson, obviously, but as a South Carolina fan. The passion that college football fans have is like, to me, it's like the purest form of fandom. Like, I know that like NIL has changed the game and the transfer portal and all of these things. But at the end of the day, these are still just like kids playing a sport that we are like basing our lives around, our weekends around, our moods around. If you're a college football fan or a college fan in general, the like amount of like, you know, even like at Carolina, North Carolina, like the disdain for like, okay, this isn't how it's supposed to be and it's only game 1. He's supposed to come in and change everything. Mom's mad about the rankings, which I'm like, the rankings don't really, if you keep winning, it doesn't matter where you're ranked. Like, it'll all take care of itself in the end. Alabama and how far they fell versus Florida State and how far that they jumped after being out of it. The passion, you know, I didn't grow up an NFL fan. I became much more of an NFL fan through my career. You grew up a diehard NFL fan. What do you feel like the passion of college football fans versus the passion of NFL fans?
Well, it's markedly different. And let's just start real quick with addressing your mom before I'm going to risk being disowned as a son-in-law here. So here we go. But as she told on a text message, I'm not her favorite son-in-law anyway. So this is are you listening check too? But okay, yeah, it is what she said. Max is top of her list. I'm never going to forget that. Thank you very much.
That's her favorite name, Max.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyway, this is why fan is short for fanatic. Is you can get mad about the rankings and you get upset, but the objective person, which I tend to play that role a lot of times in TV and radio, because I'm not a fanatic or a fan around this, there are reasons why your team only moved up slightly and why Clemson's still in the top 10. It's real simple. It lost to LSU, who may be a top 5 team in the country.
Well, that's what we talked about, but I still like
But this is my point is, they don't care or want to hear it. It doesn't matter. It's like the objective person giving you the rational argument is not usually received very well because they do not care. Mm-hmm. Like, they care about their team and don't care about the context of the greater construct of things. And when the only times they do is when they care about their league, which makes them look better versus other leagues and vis-a-vis other teams.
Which is why I love it.
Yes. But now, there is nothing like college football. And that the difference with that, and the only thing like it, is global soccer. And because it's grown out of these small communities. Starkville, Clemson, Gainesville. We can go through land grants and why the schools got money in the middle of nowhere. We don't need to do that.
Let's not.
That
is what you're here for, but let's not.
The point is, you have these small places that become hubs of economic activity and all around these teams. Mm-hmm. And it's passed down. It's familial. It's from generation to generation. And there's a love and there's a pride and there's a connection. Whether you went to that school or not, you still can have that shared connection. And that's what's different. You see that in global soccer. You see it particularly in Europe and in South America, and the connection with these little communities, how it's grown out, how it's passed down, and people live and die for their teams.
I felt it in Chapel Hill the next day as I went to the Purple Bowl, which was incredible acai bowl place, by the way. Great. Oh, you've been there?
Of course, yeah.
Of course you know. And I'm looking around at all like the streets and the bars, and I'm like, God, I know they were crazy last night, but it is just a different feel even being on Franklin Street. Even the next day, like after a loss, it feels different. It just does.
Well, it's funny, like, as the pod, TFEs, like your thoughts, feelings, emotions on losing. The funny thing is losing, the only thing different about winning and losing is how the outside world views you, honestly. You could lose on a last-second field goal. It doesn't mean that you suck. It doesn't mean that you played bad. It doesn't mean you deserve to lose. But you lost. And your fans will feel a certain way, will have emotions about it, and will think a certain thing about you. And that's not going to change. That just is. That's sport. There's a winner and there's a loser. Mm-hmm. And it affects your emotions and it affects the fanatics' emotions across the boards and how they think and how they feel about their teams. That's never going to change with college sports. Of all the crap we go through, the games are what really matter. Mm-hmm. And the people, I shouldn't say what the people actually care about. Their team playing for those 60 minutes or those 40 minutes in hoops or whatever it may be. And that's the passion of college sports is unmatched. And it's totally different than the NFL. Like growing up in Pittsburgh in a pro sports place, the Northeast is primarily pro sports towns. Mm-hmm. It's not even close. So you don't understand it. It's a world we don't get.
Yeah.
Like I told this to Shane Beamer when I interviewed him, the Virginia Tech coach, Laura Dane's like, what the hell are you guys talking about right now? But, I said that I was at the Clemson, South Carolina party last year.
South Carolina head coach.
Yeah, South Carolina head coach, yes. Of course, his dad was a Virginia Tech coach. He played at Virginia Tech. But anyway, I told him on the interview, like, being at your family's house for the South Carolina Clemson game was really cool. It was insight into something that I never had seen. Because when I grew up, you were never having there's no Cleveland Browns fans walking through the door to hang out with us Steelers fans. It just doesn't happen. And in bars in New York City, it's different. But like families can be severed based on decisions that you go to a school or somebody goes to this place. Like that's unique. And again, only happens in global soccer. So I love that your mom's all into it. I love that I had the insight into like a family that operates that way, as always being an outsider and like covering it. But seeing how you guys feel it is pretty cool. And last thing I will say about this is those fans watch everything. Like your mom watches everything South Carolina does. And that is also something that is deep love for their school and their connection. It doesn't have to be a certain sport. And she loves Max more than me. Go ahead.
Max would be happy to hear that. Mom will not be happy to hear that when she listens to this. I'm sure you'll get a text clarifying how much of being in the room last year, because it's always right around Thanksgiving when that rivalry week game was like what you expected. Seeing everybody, and it was South Carolina fans and Clemson fans, because my family has grads from both and fans of both, was what you expected versus like, wait, this is a little bit nuts.
Well, the thing is, I do think your family, this is maybe like a Southern thing, your family is, cordial to each other. This is like family. So there's some sniping, there's some trash talking, there's a little bit of that. But I imagine, and there are also, let's be sexist, I guess, there are, your mom's side of the family is one of 6 girls. If those are one of 6 boys, I think the dynamic in that house is different. Like that cascades a little bit. That was a very heavy female crowd versus male crowd. So it was animated. It was again trash being talked a lot of times by your mom, leading a lot of the trash talking. But I think exactly. I think guys may interact, like maybe a little more aggression in it, and you see that sometimes in bar situations you can get. But like when it's family, it was cordial, but it was intense. And the difference is if Clemson won, that place would have felt markedly different. And I said that to Beamer at the end of the interview, because then we would have seen some bitterness, some frustration, thoughts, feelings, emotions about their team, about what happened, about how they lost. And that whole experience would have been way different, because it was about 80-20, 85-15, South Carolina fans. That would have been a way different interaction. So then winning also did keep it as a even keel.
Yeah, there's nothing like college football rivalries, in my opinion. There's just not, like, getting to go to those games, the like week leading up to it, the tailgating that day, being at the actual games, and then win or lose, the parties that ensue afterwards are it's just special. I love college football. It's what I grew. I mean, like growing up in the South, it wasn't like we're watching football on Sundays. It was like football's on Saturdays, and do you like South Carolina or Clemson? Like that's all that matters. Yeah. That's all that mattered. So it's cool to be a part of that. It was cool to get to watch the South Carolina game against Virginia Tech with my parents, and then kind of go throughout the weekend as well.
You know what still gets me by that way, just from like a geographic thing? Because growing up in Pittsburgh too, Carolina was always North Carolina.
Don't get me started.
But this is funny. When I'm down there, you guys will always say Carolina, and it still takes me I still have to do like a double tap. Who are we talking about? Like, my brain is not wired that way.
My family almost disowned me when I started working for ACC Network, not because of that. They love that, but because to my family who went to South Carolina, Carolina is Carolina. So when I was on TV all the time saying Carolina and was always talking about North Carolina, they were like, what are you talking about? We're Carolina. We're USC. We're not SC. We're USC. And it's been
I hate to break it to them. Outside of that state, both those things are co-opted by the other school. Yeah. USC and Carolina are owned in the other 49 states.
It's a big world, but sometimes it only matters what happens in your world. And that was my world growing up.
All politics is local.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I get one more thing in before we shift to it? Because this is not about that. Total hard left.
Okay.
But you said it earlier, and I don't want to forget. You said I'm a very emotional person, which I don't disagree with that statement. What I think is unique about how you share your emotions or show your emotions is that it's always there, and you want to know how I feel, and you want to talk about that with me or anybody else. I feel like if it's a heated emotion, once you're out of it, you do an incredible job of like self-assessing and being like, how can I handle that differently? And then that leads us to another conversation, which always I'm ready for that one, excited about that one. But you are self-assessing, making sure you are clearly articulating what your challenge was or what your problem was or what your issue was, and then trying to understand my side of it. Or I imagine the other people you're dealing with, and I'm speaking from personal experience, and then trying to, find resolution or find a way to say, I'm sorry, and not move past it, but understand what had happened or why it happened, and hopefully that it doesn't happen again. So I feel like when you say you're an emotional person, it sounds like it's off the handle and it's like there's no rationality to it. That's not rational. After the fact, it can be rational, and there's discussion, and I think there's learning and understanding from it, which is much more productive, I think, than just saying, I'm an emotional person. I don't think that's a fair characterization.
I appreciate that. I think when I say it, I mean more like, I am an emotional person in the fact that like my friends, when we're in the group chat, are going to say, Kelsey, you're probably going to cry, but I'm going to say this anyways. And they're going to like tell me a story that will have nothing to do with me. I always say like, like in my opinion, like God gives people different like levels of different things. Like my empathy is like off the charts. I remember like being in sociology class in college and watching a Britney Spears documentary and sitting in the back right corner of class and like wiping tears like, oh, when she shaved her head, she was really going through it. Like I just was feeling for her without knowing anything about what it's like to have a mental breakdown or anything like that. Like my empathy, my ability to like try and put myself in someone else's shoes, sometimes to a fault, because like sometimes like you don't need to go that deep on how someone feels. Part of like what I have loved about my job throughout the years, and especially in local news, because you're on the grind there. I was like doing all the interviews, cut, write, edit things, and putting the stories together. I would have so many people, especially in news when I was a reporter, not a sports reporter, but also as sports reporters, I shared serious stories that cried in the interviews with me. And I always cried. And like as a reporter, you're taught like you're supposed to like be buttoned up and da 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 da. But to me, like letting your guard down with someone is a way that like you let them in. And again, like I say, it's a privilege. If someone's going to share something that is hard or emotional with me, then that is something that I take very seriously. But my empathy, I just like immediately, I'm like, well, what must that feel like for them? So I appreciate you saying that. My emotional side is definitely like, I feel like it's not hard for me to cry about someone else's situation, or it's not hard to cry about things that happened to me or to you or anything else like that. But to your point about, if I'm in a heated moment, it doesn't last very long. And I think that's just because, like, to me, like, communication is so important. It is, like, at the same time, it is simultaneously so hard and so easy in a relationship. Because, like, it can make or break it. You can have a fight that is stupid, but you're both heated, and you can both be mad in that moment, and then you just don't talk about it because nobody wants to say anything and you don't want to address it. Or you can take a step away, realize that you were heated, realize that I was heated, whatever, and then come back and be like, hey, like just sometimes it doesn't even have to be like talking about it like, hey, this is where I was wrong, or this is how I felt. Like sometimes it's just like, what are we going to do to break the ice? Because like maybe it doesn't always need to be a big conversation. But I just feel like communication is something that like base level is so important, and that's often overlooked because like you spend so much time in spaces with, whether it's friends, family, coworkers, siblings, husbands, wives, you spend so much time in these spaces. And that's why people like talk about the roommate phase and, this stage of like, we're just around each other, but we're not this. It's like, well, are you talking? Is there an emotional connection there? Do you know how that person's actually feeling? Are you trying to like spend quality time together? Are you asking them where they're at and how they're feeling? And so many times we're not, because it's easy to just like look at our phone or turn the TV on. Now you got me on a whole different rant about relationships and communication. But like, that's why I feel like it's important, because I don't, if my feelings are hurt, I have a hard time not saying it.
I'm aware.
And if I hurt your feelings, I have a hard time not apologizing. because life is short. My parents always taught us you never go to bed mad at someone. You never know what'll happen. My older sister and I are 15 months apart, and we shared a bedroom and a bed all through high school. And Brie and I would like hate each other before bed sometimes. We would be like literally yelling at each other, just you did this and you did that, and just sitting there. And then there would be, a couple minutes of silence, and it's like, good night, I love you, see you in the morning. Like you don't go to bed mad. Yeah. And to me, that's bigger. It's like you just don't stay mad. And if it's worth staying mad over, then it's worth at least trying to talk about, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, you're dead right. I mean, I think that it's the bedrock of any good relationship, but it's also probably one of the hardest things for people to do. Like, not everybody, it's one of those things because you don't control it individually. You can try, quote unquote, to communicate in what you think is effective or how you want to be communicated with. It's a two-way street. That may not work for the person you're dealing with. It may not connect with them. You may not be listening to them. That's part of the two-way street. That, yeah, I mean, I've obviously went through a relationship and many relationships where communication was either non-existent or the reason that it didn't work. And that was, I was at fault for a lot of that. But again, when you think you may be like doing it, but when things get hard or get challenging or get different or circumstances change, you have to evolve and change you have to do things differently. You have to change the way you operate, change the way you do it together. If you're not going to do that, you can't succeed. It's just, you're just not, you can stay in a marriage, you can stay in a relationship. I don't see how you're happy. Mm-hmm. I don't see either one of you are fulfilled or truly connected. I think you're just doing it, and that's fine. A lot of people do that because that's the way to live life, and that's how they want to live life. But it's just not, it's not the way I wanted to live life, I guess.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned that the idea of change, and I feel like change is so hard, but it's also often looked at so negatively, like, oh, they changed. And sometimes people change for the worse, for sure. Mm-hmm. But like, isn't the goal in life, especially like we're sitting here as former athletes, like in sports, like to be a little bit better every day? Like, to me, like, people changing and evolving, that's a compliment if there's growth. Like, you don't want to be viewed as a completely different person in a negative way because you got XYZ or whatever. But like, the goal is to continue to be like a better version of yourself, for your family, for other people, for your life, so that you have a fulfilled life where you're happy and you've done the things that you want to do, and you live a good life that, serves you and others. And, if you're religious in God in the way that you think that, you should serve. So the idea of like change sometimes being a negative thing, I think, is so interesting, because it's such a like an easy out to be like, oh, well, they've changed. Like, good. Maybe you should change too.
That's one thing. It's not necessarily always good. I think the difference is, like, what is the old phrase? It's like guys marry a woman hoping she never changes, and a woman marries a man hoping to change him. Like, that's that old, like, saying. And I do think there's maybe some truth to that, but at the same time, like, change, if it is negative, which I'm not absolving myself of changing in a way that was not productive, you need to be honest with yourself and then have that conversation, have a partner that wants to have that conversation. And it's coming to meet you in good faith and having a discussion about how that's affecting them or how that's affecting us, or what the implications that can have. If the other person is changing, or you both are, and you're not equipped to make those conversations or have those conversations or communicate about it, you can't succeed. Because all that does, that'll end up building resentment. Because now you're like, they're different, didn't sign up for this, this is not what I thought it was going to be.
But it's not just in relationships, it's in friendships too.
I'm saying any relationship, yeah, of course. And that's where, like, if there is negative change, it all comes back to being able to honestly communicate with that person, to understand how that's either impacting that person, then they're not seeing it impacting themselves negatively, the people around them, their family, their partner, whoever it may be. It all comes back to being able to honestly discuss it. Because if you can't do that, then that person's just going to keep doing their thing. Because that's another thing too that I always had that issue with. They're like, this is who I am. This is who I am. That is a really small and sad way to live. But that's how I lived for a long time. Like, that just doesn't have to be that way. And if that's how you're going to operate, yeah, other people are not going to. It puts the subsect of people that want to be around you, or Kyle Smith, who's the coach at Stanford, the basketball coach, he coached at Columbia years ago. But he used to always say, there's two types of people in this world. A fountain or a drain. Mm-hmm. We only want fountains here. Mm-hmm. So if you are one of those people that will not change, I am this way, and this is just everybody else can go kick rocks. That's one of the characteristics of a drain. Everything has to be your way, so you are sucking things out of people. Mm-hmm. You want to be a fountain, and if you walk, there are people that can walk into a room, and the room changes, and you know. And you don't want to judge a book by its cover. It's usually people like everything is different because that person's presence is here, mm-hmm. and how they're going to operate through that, and that's hard.
You know what's interesting as we're talking about this is we're saying, even before you said the fountain or the drain, like just bigger picture, like there's someone out there, or have they changed, or you think this, or you haven't had that conversation. Like to me, this is where like TFEs come in, because like there are so many things that are left unsaid, or that we don't do, or that we don't reach out to, and that's where I think like what we've tried to do can be valuable. And it's not like novel, like, yeah, anybody talk about your thoughts or your feelings or your emotions, but like if you take that approach to like whoever, if you're out there listening, like whoever is coming to their mind, if you try and think, and sit down and talk with somebody about like, okay, well, what are your thoughts, what are your feelings, or what are your emotions, you personally, like, mm-hmm. and get them to share. It's like it's almost like you're like stripping it down, right? Like you're not. We've said that it helps in a fight because it's like, okay, like, guards are down, or fighting tools are down, and my guards are down, and we're going to talk about this of like, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? What are my emotions? And the reason that in this case, if it's something that like, you've lost touch with somebody, or you just think someone's different, or you've been different and you haven't known how to approach this with somebody else, like it facilitates the conversation in a way that it doesn't have to be perfect. Because it's really easy to say what you're thinking. It's hard to talk about feelings and emotions and distinguish between the two of them, which is like, to me, the beauty of it. Because you almost talk more because you're trying to figure out what you're feeling versus what your emotions are and why. And then it almost just like makes you like word vomit different things that like, mm-hmm. you didn't even necessarily know were in there. So as you're saying that, I'm thinking like we use it so much for like, our relationship and marriage, but even in like so many things that have been built up or unsaid, I feel like it's just a way that could totally be a way to like disarm the conversation before you even begin it.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things about it, when you say, what are you thinking, what are your feelings, what are your emotions, is you do try to then focus inward. And it's less about you did this and you're doing that, and it's not about what that person's doing. Now,
which is like a big part of therapy. I
feel your I statements, and that's important to try to look inward and say, okay, here's what I'm thinking, here's how I feel, here are my emotions, and maybe not trying to explain the why of them, because the why then becomes, well, you did this. It's you're kind of laying bare where I'm at here. And hopefully the person on the other side is listening, and they're laying bare, and they're trying to parse through, how we are getting through whatever the issue is together. Or if it's not even an issue, it's just like, where's this person at? It allows you to get in an inward space, which again, with a lot of times with communication and arguments with anybody, or if anything, we started with this about being heated. There is a lot of, you, and that's never going to be productive.
Mm-hmm. We had another topic, but I don't even know if it fits right now. I think I'd rather just save it for another time, because I just thought of something else that's behind me that I just wanted to make sure.
What do we got now? Oh, you brought the thing?
Oh, no! I dropped the red wagon!
Torpedoed the red wagon. And your phone.
Is that a sign?
Hopefully not.
I just dropped our symbol of love.
Yeah.
TFE is on having our little red wagon. Do you want to share the story?
I'll let you explain it.
Come on. Not of this particular one, but...
What do you mean of this particular one? Yeah, I get... All right. Well, in the beginning of... Well, not beginning. As we passed the threshold of like, do we want to do this? Or I guess maybe it was still like, do we want to do this? It was like, as Kelsey would say, this is a roller coaster. Because there would be a lot of highs and lows. Because it'd be like... Yeah, we should. This seems so great, and this seems so perfect, and this seems like where we want to be. But then there's like, for me at the time, being like, I don't know if this is right for me right now. I don't know how I feel about marriage. I don't know how I feel about all these things. I've been going therapy for a couple of years, and like I'm trying to figure all this stuff out. So yes, I guess you had to live through some roller coaster moments, and you had said one time, like, I don't want to be in a roller coaster. I just want to be like sitting on a red wagon with you, like going 2 miles an hour.
Through the park.
Central Park, I may have been discussed. So yeah, so whenever I proposed to you in Charleston, you had no idea that we were walking on a pier and there was a red wagon there. And, oh, what's this wagon? Your boy hit it. Oh, what's this wagon? And your boy hit a knee. I don't know what I said. You said yes and you cried.
I don't know what you said either.
And
is there anybody out there that doesn't black out when they get proposed to?
Or do the proposing? If anybody's composed enough to have like a good spiel and has given it, it's not on camera and you know what you said, that's a whole different level.
Did you know what you were like in your head? Like, I know like you wouldn't have memorized it, but like, did you know what you wanted to say? Like what you wanted to hit on?
I imagine I said something about the wagon because that was the whole point. It was a prop. It was a prop there in our life together.
I think you said, the one thing I do remember you saying, I don't know what came before it or afterwards, but like, you know, you said something along the lines of like, you told me that you wanted this red wagon life with me and it's not always going to be easy, but I want to try to give it to you or something like that.
Sounds about right. I don't know. Who knows? I honestly have no idea. I honestly have no idea. The last part I will say before you did it, yes, you did cry. Then you saw that Bree was there and you cried even harder because your sister was there. That is real love. That makes you feel great. You just proposed. You think this is our whole life together. So excited. She's crying. She looks up and sees her sister there and really loses it. And you're like, well, why am I here? What am I doing?
Full context of the situation, because my other sister was there too, Chandler, and her now husband, Max. My mom was there, my dad was there, and your mom was there. And that was normal because we were all there because we were having a shower that evening. And so everybody was there hanging out, and I thought we were just touring around. But my older sister was in Italy, right? Mm-hmm. For work, and then was going to extend the trip and have a vacation there. It hadn't even crossed my mind that you may propose, partly because Brian was in Italy, and you knew the one thing that I cared about was my family not necessarily being there in that moment, but being there around when it happened. Like I needed them there. So it didn't even, like, it literally, I feel like I'm really hard to surprise, or I thought I was. So the fact that I was so surprised that day, even as we were like walking down.
You're hard to surprise?
You think I'm not?
Sometimes I feel like you don't even know which street you're walking down. Well, how hard is it to surprise you? You don't know where you're at.
That's different.
You don't even know where you are.
I feel like I'm a little detective if I want to be.
I'm sure you are, but like, it doesn't seem as hard to surprise you with things like again, I could take you somewhere tonight and you'd be like, oh, we're on the moon. Like, you have no idea.
I would be like, wow, that was like, leading up to it, I'd be like, he was being weird, or this was that, or something. Like, something would set alarm bells off in my head. Maybe I wouldn't know where we were.
Yeah, you didn't touch the pouch of my hoodie I was wearing that had a ring in it. Clearly, that was comfortable.
Well, you were being weird as we were walking around and trying to figure it out. But anyways.
Yeah, because I couldn't find the pier. I was like, I'm walking the wrong direction. I'm texting them like, where's this thing? Where's the red wagon? What's going on? Yeah. Definitely. We should definitely eat dinner there tonight. That sounds great. Yeah.
You're like, maybe we should walk further. I'm like, there's nothing else this way. We're not walking that way. And then we're walking down the pier and you're like being sweet and trying to say sweet things.
Because then I saw the red wagon. I'm like, I know where I'm at. We're right on the right spot.
Still didn't go off like in my head.
Again, really hard to surprise.
Well, no, because we talk like that. Like, we say sentimental things like, and again, this is, I guess, just...
And the detective, again, the red wagon on a pier
I didn't see it yet.
In the Charleston Harbor.
I didn't see it yet. I was further proving your point because we're walking down the pier and people are sitting on this swing. And you're like, yeah, and, remember one time when we were here and we, like, had breakfast here, we brought acai balls and sat here. And I go, no, we didn't. And you're like, yes, we did. We sat right there on that. You're trying to, like, take me back down memory lane. And then you have to explain more. I'm like, oh, yeah, I do remember that. But I didn't think anything of it because I just thought you were being sweet and, like, wanted to remember, like, a nice day that we had in Charleston. And then we get down to the end of the pier and I see the red wagon. And there's no one around it, and it's just the red wagon. And in my brain, I'm like, where's the child that goes in that red wagon? Like, in my head, it made sense because you're on the pier, and then you can walk down a thing, and then you're actually out on the dock. And you wouldn't have taken a red wagon out on the dock with a child in it.
So at point, I'm like, when are you taking red wagons offshore? When's that happening? Why would that ever have made sense in any context?
I don't know. I didn't think you're going to propose. And so then
But again, you can't surprise me.
And we're walking.
I can't be surprised.
And then we're walking towards the wagon. And I'm like, oh my God, is this my red wagon? This is my red wagon. And then I was flipping out, and then I have no idea what you said. I blacked out other than something about giving me that red wagon life and trying to. And we were crying and laughing and freaking out, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is real. And then those were all my thoughts, feelings, and emotions about, I can't believe that officially I'm going to get to spend the rest of my life with you. And oh my God, this is amazing. And then it wasn't the first thought. It was the next thought was, my sister's not here and she's going to be so sad that she's the only one that missed out on it. And how am I, like, what are her TFEs going to be on that? How is she going to feel? And so I was like thinking that, and then I turned around, and with my whole family coming up, like standing there with my sister Taylor running up, there was Brienne too. And the picture of me ugly crying, oh my God. And you just smiling with this grin behind, like, look what I did.
There was a lot of that. There was also like, this is bullshit. Look at this, look at how happy she is. Because again, if I can reenact like the noise, like just this was like, it's like, oh my God, I'm so happy. Oh my God, Brie! Oh my God! I was like, holy cow! Like, I didn't get that. That's why I was smiling. I was like,
but you do, yeah. Right. But you understood it then because you knew how close my family was and is. But I'm sure you understand it even more at like a deeper level of like.
Well, no, I knew already how close you were, and then I felt it, like, and I heard it audibly.
I was not. But they were all excited that Brian was there than the fact that we were.
But they were all accomplices. I'd text them, a couple months prior. This might be it. Like, we're gonna come down there. I mean, actually, it wasn't the months. It had to be like 1 month because we knew once we booked that trip. But they were all, very helpful, all in on the game. And the one thing I will say, your dad, he was doing, James Bond stuff that I wasn't aware of.
Yeah.
I thought he was going off script, but he knew that they were delayed getting the wagon there. So Bree and Shan had told him, your sisters, that he hadn't got the wagon. So I'm nervous. Again, I said I have a hoodie on. I got the ring in the pouch. Usually you're touching me in some regard. I'm like, how is this thing going to be hidden? My pants are way too tight to have a ring box in them. So that's not working. So I'm like, so I had my hand in my pouch, like sweat hoodie, like the whole hour and a half we were gone from your house. But your dad is just driving around, which is not abnormal for him. He loves to show us parts of Charleston. So he's like touring around in my head. I'm like, yo, Brian, we got to get to this dock, man. I'm losing my freaking mind back here. Like, what are you doing? But he was delaying intentionally. And I was like, without knowing what was happening, I'm like, what is going on? And trying to be cool the entire time.
He's the OG back there actually holding it down for you.
He was doing, yes, he was killing it. He was doing great. And he was pointing at stuff and doing which he normally does. He shows us parts of Charleston, which was great.
Your mom around. That was what made it.
And which my mom loved.
Yeah.
So he's doing something that is making her really happy.
And I didn't think anything of it.
You thought nothing of it.
Giving your mom a tour.
So again, that's why it's James Bond. It was completely covert. Nobody had any clue what was going on except for, and even I didn't know what was going on, but I was like underneath, like kind of mad at him. Like, yo, bro, get us at this dock.
I'm so nervous.
But it was all by intention. He was bonding us. It was James Bond. Well done.
He did well. So anyways, now we have our little red wagon that I surprised you with, and that will sit back there along with these two things that mean a whole lot to us.
Yeah.
Really symbolic of our relationship.
Yeah, the statue. The thinker definitely is. The hard thinker. It's right there.
Is that what we're calling it?
I don't know what to call it, but
we're going to workshop some new names for it because it's not going to be called The Hard Thinker by the time we get to episode 4. We got a date night tonight that we're looking forward to. I've got a weekend in San Diego that I'm looking forward to. Alex Morgan's Jersey retirement ceremony, so I'm sure we'll have some conversations about that in the next week, and getting our little Dace man back, and then Lyra being back with us next week. So
Lyra is very excited to see her little brother. She's obsessed with him, which is super sweet. But for her to see him, I'm going to have to traverse a flight by myself with him. And I'm going to do amazing. And I'm going to do it without your help. There we go.
We'll see about that.
I do not feel good about this.
There's no shame. And if you need me, baby, I'll be here.
No, man, I got this.
You got this. Make sure to like, rate, and subscribe, and share. And not just share the podcast. Share your TFEs.
Yeah, well said. Maybe bring them to your husband or significant other tonight. See how it goes.
TFEs podcast on Instagram, YouTube. You got anything else?
That long pause? No, I have nothing else. That was it.
You look like you're about to say something.
Shut this thing down, lady. Let's go have a date night.
Let's go have a date.